God's grace for me gives me faith in the man that I can be. Because if God didn't see the version of me that is full in his identity and in his sonship, why would he have grace for me? If I was going to get no better than I was when I was in the middle of TikTok doing whatever I wanted, full of the world's desires.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to The Uncomfortable Truth. We're excited to have you. We're excited to have our guest today, Will Honey.
Honey.
Yeah. Dadgummit, I wrote it down too. Will Honey. Okay. I even did like the phonic spelling and I still screwed it up. Okay.
Trying to sound it out. Is that what phonic is?
Honey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, phonics. Yeah,
okay.
Honey.
Yeah.
Okay. Golly. I'm sorry, dude.
You're
we're going to
good,
leave that in here because
Yeah.
we're real people that make real mistakes.
It's the uncomfortable truth.
It's the uncomfortable truth. Man, we're going to jump into your story, and we typically start at the beginning of somebody's journey.
Yeah.
Journeys are all about, these journeys that we're talking about are all about finding our way to Christ and following Christ in a deep and intentional way.
Right.
So your journey started when you were born, right? This is your journey. You know your journey.
Right.
Your journey started when you were born. Where are you from? Where'd you grow up? What was that like?
Yeah. So I'm from, I think Mineola's about an hour from here. It's like straight down 80.
Mm-hmm.
So I grew up there in Wood County. Man, I don't have too many memories from when I was younger, but ironically enough, looking back on life, I think it's because I actually didn't want to remember. And I'm sure that those will resurface again at some point in life. But grew up out there, grew up in a broken home for the vast majority of like my younger years. My dad was what you would call like a backwoods outlaw for the most part. Like he quite literally was running drugs up there. In Wood County specifically. It's funny, I fast forward to when I was like 17 and we'd already moved at this point. I'm kind of flash forwarding, but I get back and I get pulled over, not even for speeding. Didn't use a blinker, who knows. Get pulled over, cop checks the license, and she gets like, there's like a gun shy look to it, right? And it's because it wasn't just my dad, like it was his siblings. A vast majority of the family has been in trouble in that area. So the last name doesn't stand too well there. And so that's a big deciding factor and why my parents actually moved us out was kind of the fire we were under from kids and parents and just the system in general around there.
You said your parents moved you out?
Yeah. So my mom met my stepfather, who I call my dad. That man has been nothing but gold. Like you couldn't ask for a better stepdad. Like doesn't have like his own biological kids because he says we're his own kids and we're more than enough for him.
Your siblings?
But
you have siblings?
Yeah. So I have technically 4. I got my brother and my sister who are full siblings, same dad, same mom. And they're the ones that moved with us and live with us. And then I've got 2 half siblings, Hunter and Cash, in Eanis, Texas. So still from Wood County also, that my dad had later in life. I think they're 10 and 11 or 9 and 11, something like that. Don't get to see them as much as I would like to because I only get to see them when I'm back in town and I got a family, own a company, so I'm almost never back. So definitely people I wish I could be more intentional with. Love them to death. Hope they know that, but, Hunter was actually a surprise because it was after my dad passed away, they found out she was pregnant.
We got a lot of stuff to dig into here from your childhood. Earlier you mentioned you don't remember much from your childhood. Maybe it's because you don't want to remember and you think maybe it'll resurface later.
Yeah, I'm just, man, as you go through the skeletons in the closet, right, and you accept God's grace and God's love, things that used to hurt just don't hurt like they did anymore.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like there are things that genuinely deeply affected me that my, like, deep psychological wounds that my biological father inflicted, that now that I understand my identity in Christ and in God, right? Like, and understand more of who he was just another broken person just like us. Like he didn't have life any more figured out than the next guy, right? And so when you have these understandings, it's like it no longer hurts as much. Like we battle not with flesh and blood, right? We battle but with spirits and principalities. So I know that, in fact, it wasn't my dad that hurt me. It's whatever he was letting rule his life at the time. Right. So
that's a spiritual perspective. Like you have a spiritual lens. Do you remember that Shia LaBeouf video that we sent in our group text the other day? Did you send that?
Obi.
You remember what he was talking about?
Kinda.
He he talked about like becoming a Christian and like truly following Jesus and giving everything to Jesus is a hack for suffering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's talking about that spiritual lens of like when you go through suffering and the hard things that we go through in life, that we can still have joy knowing that God said, you're going to suffer.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, James talks all about it.
And he
James,
said, he also said, if he had any wish for any human or for every human being on earth is to go through enough suffering to where basically you surrender to Christ.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what, man, I love that you said that, because the number one question we get, like as Christians from somebody who is not, right, is like, well, if God's real, then why do bad things happen in the world? Right? They happen for your own good, dude.
Right.
Like if pain and suffering didn't exist, 90% of us none of us would be following the Lord.
That's a fact.
Because life would be cherry without him. Why would we ever look to somebody else? We'd live for ourselves if life was good all the time. Right? And then the backside of that being is that like God didn't send them to hell. They sent themselves to hell, right? God loves you so much, he gave you a choice. And you either chose him or you chose to live without him. And whichever you chose, he honored in death. So if you chose to live with him, he's going to honor that in death, and you will be brought to the kingdom. If you chose to live without him, dude, it's your choice. He loves you. That's your father. So he respected your choice. So in death, you will live apart from him also.
Right.
It sounds like you've reconciled your suffering, at least to the point where you are in your age right now. You're 22?
4. Yeah, I just turned 24.
You've reconciled your suffering knowing that Jesus reconciled it for you.
Yeah, 100%. Well,
great place to be.
A big part to remember, bro, is that like if you don't, so out of suffering, we hold offense, right? And we hold grudges and we hold resentment. And the big part about that is just the revelation that like if you don't forgive them, why would the Lord forgive you, right? He tells us that to be forgiven, you have to forgive
others, yes.
Right? And it's like,
that's stark.
My wife actually, and it's crazy because she sent me, I guess a short of one of the podcasts y'all did on, it's one of the shorts y'all put on TikTok from this podcast, but somebody was talking about that. They said their favorite verse, was like Matthew.
Cowboy hat.
No, I don't think he had a cowboy hat on.
Okay.
This one he had a prison background. He was just wearing a snapback and like some bracelets.
Yeah. Mothan.
Yeah, Michael Mothan.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said his favorite verses were in Matthew, and it was like, you forgive others and I will forgive you, and that like changed his life. And it's crazy because my wife, my buddy Tyler recommended, she was going through some offense and harboring some ill will, and my buddy recommended The Bait of Satan. It's a book, and apparently it's phenomenal. I'm hoping to read it soon, but my wife made it through, and dude, I just saw the revelation in her, but the revelation was realizing that like offense is the bait of Satan. Like as long as he can keep you offended, he keeps you separated from the vine. And if you're separated from the vine, your end goal is not the same as the rest of ours at the moment, you know? Like, So offense is a very, very, very real, very very dangerous, scary.
Did we just make a new word up?
That's kind of a cool word.
I'm writing that down.
Dangerous.
I like it.
Scary, dangerous mix.
So who introduced you?
That's good.
Who introduced you to church and God? And I mean, is that where you? It doesn't sound like you were raised in the church from in Mineola. I mean, did you go to church every Sunday?
Man, don't remember much, you know. But I grew up in church for sure. I think we grew up, if I remember correctly, going to First Baptist in Mineola, probably the majority of my younger life, and then a couple of surrounding churches.
So was your father involved?
My biological father was not.
Okay.
No.
Who were you going to church
So this
with?
is your mom and...
So my mom and my mom's side of the family. Like her mother has always been a very, very strong in her faith. And then that kind of, I think that rubbed off on the kids. So yeah, my mom and her side of the family, we were going to a church. I think we went to First Baptist the majority of my life, like very, very younger years. Can't really remember much. Then we moved to like a cowboy church out on the other side of Mineola, headed to Quitman, if y'all know where that is. There's a cowboy church right there on the left, and I can't remember for the life of me what it was called because this was 10, 12, 15 years ago. But we started going there for a little bit. But yeah, long story short, raised in church. We went to Green Acres a lot also, out in Tyler. Yeah, just making the trip. Just phenomenal. Did a couple youth trips there when I was younger. Grew up in church. I love my parents, man. They've made phenomenal strides in their faith later in life, but like didn't see church in my home growing up. And talking to my mom about that later, because, you know, as Ruth was like being formulated, the 9 months of carrying, right? I'm blanking on the right word for that right now, but while Abby was carrying her, we were really digging into like what life as a parent was going to look like. And she was praying about it and I was praying about it. And the big thing was understanding the fact that like one of the reasons I struggled so much, and inadvertently same reason she struggled, but on the flip side, was that I didn't see God in my home growing up. Like my parents weren't praying together in front of us, at least. They weren't having conversations with us about him. Like arguments got out of hand. You know what I'm saying? And a very Southern Baptist life, like, you know, just drink on Friday and Saturday and then go say sorry on Sunday and then repeat the next week, you know, work hard Monday through Friday, drink on Saturday. It was
you mentioned you had a conversation, you talked to your mom about these things. What have you talked to her about her life and what she went through with your dad and the transition of like leaving that and getting you guys out of it and meeting your stepfather?
Yeah. So I talked to her a little bit about it, and the way I was leaning before was that when I was having that conversation with her and I was like, hey, I just wanted to know, you know, like why didn't we ever see this growing up? You know, because I feel like that's a very foundational thing. And you say you've been filled with the Holy Spirit since you were young. Not saying she hasn't, I'm sure she has. But she said, I was praying, I just wasn't praying in front of you. You know, she had her own private prayer time. And I was like, man, okay, that's good. But got to pray with our kids. You know what I'm saying? Like I think it's very important to incorporate that. Yeah, I've talked to her about it, man. Cody has been just a blessing. Like the story. Yeah. The story behind him is like him and mom dated for a while. And then my mom had 3 kids. You know, she had all of us with my biological father. And she was like, I don't need a boyfriend. You know, so she broke up with him. She was like, I don't need a boyfriend. I'm tired of sharing the lives of my kids with, you know, the next boyfriend. She was just looking out for us, you know, and, you know, we've seen a couple guys growing up. And so, she broke up with Cody, and then she was just single for a while. And our great grandmother, who lived out in Kearns at the time, was going through some health problems. So we got to hang out with her. I think we went to Dallas or something together and went to the zoo, and we all stayed in a hotel together. It's a very core memory getting to hang out with her for a day because she passed shortly after. But I remember talking to her, and it wasn't too long ago, it was a couple months back, and we were talking about this whole situation. And she said it was so neat because on that trip, because this was months past, I don't know how long, months, a year, 2 years, had passed. And apparently my stepdad had gone out on a couple of dates, and the girls would ask about my mom, and he'd be like, yeah, I'm still in love with her. But, you know, it's just, you know, it just is what it is. We're not together. So she had realized on this trip with her grandmother that she was ready. Like she wanted a husband. She wanted somebody to share life with and to share us with. And like 24, she was talking to God about it. And like 24 hours later, back in the day, you know, Facebook was the only form of social media, because we're talking like early 2010s. I think Instagram was out, but wasn't as popular, you know. And
we're ancient,
especially amongst, and it's crazy because Facebook kind of made its way back around.
Yeah.
Like now, like especially when I was coming out of social media, it's like all of my friends were moving to it because their reels were paying the best. And it wasn't even close, apparently. But off topic. But
well, we're gonna get into some of that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. But she asked, you know, she's talking to the Lord about it, wanted somebody to share it with, and my dad or my stepdad sent her. You know, back in the day, they had I guess I haven't seen them. They had them when I was younger, but it's like 1 through 10. How do you feel about me? And 1's like, you know, I hate you. 2's like, I don't ever want to see you again. 3's like, you know, they just all have random stuff. And one of them was like, I'd marry you. And so Cody sent her the thing, or maybe she sent him the thing. And one way or another, one of them said, I'd marry you. No, Cody. Yeah. So she must send it to him. And he was like 4 or whatever. And that was, I'd marry you. And she was like, stop playing. You know, and he's like, I'm not playing. And yeah, that's pretty much how that happened.
They got married.
Like, yeah, bro. It's pretty.
She was like,
it's crazy because I think what was it, like 2 weeks later they dated or talking or whatever you call it. Because nowadays, especially in my generation I mean, there's like 50 steps before you're actually dating.
Everything's
meet
labeled
somebody
now
and then
with
you're
some word
talking and
with some word that old geezer, like even millennials, have no clue what you're talking about.
Dude, one of these kids, because I help on our youth team and at North Lake and Lago Vista, and one of the kids was trying to explain to me the talking phase, and I was like, so it's so you're dating. They're like, no. I'm like, but if you're only talking to each other, like, no, that's not how that works. It's not
It's not exclusive?
It's not talking's not exclusive. Talking's not exclusive.
What?
Yeah. Like you could talk to like
talk to 10 people.
Apparently you could talk to like 3 or 4 people and I'm like, oh, so y'all are just cheating on each other. You know, like that's it's very
let's
like,
be honest.
Emotional relationships with multiple people at the same time. Yeah, sounds cool.
It's really. It's interesting, but like 2 weeks after that conversation, my dad came over to my grandparents at the time with me and my parents, and I could tell he was really nervous that night, but none of us really knew what was happening. I'm just white as a ghost.
Now, is this in Lago Vista or Mineola?
This is Mineola.
Okay.
Yeah, we didn't move until well after they were married. I think it was 3 or 4 years after they got married. I think this was actually in Alba or Golden, if you know where Golden is, because I think they're the same thing, Alba Golden, but they live on Lake Hallbrook out there in Golden, and so they were over there, and he proposed, and they got married, and they were on their honeymoon on my birthday. I'm still mad at you, Mom, but no.
He's kidding. He's not mad at your mother.
No. Don't hold any resentment. But they were on their honeymoon, and, life since then felt like a dream compared to life before, since he came in, he's been a provider from day one. Never had to worry about anything after that, like he's a oil field man, has been since he was like 18. So a lot of security came. Mom was able to go through school because he was able to take on all the bills and tuition or however that worked.
Sounds like you went from a broken household to some stability there.
Yeah, 100% stability that we'd never really had in our lives, especially from a like father figure. Hadn't had one ever. Like my dad wasn't even really one.
Like, did you buck the transition at all, or did you just open your arms up and be like, I've been waiting for this?
Well, so Cody had been around. They dated for a while before they broke up. So like, and Cody was still kind of around, if I remember correctly. So it wasn't like brand new. Like we all loved Cody, So when he was our dad, I was like, cool. So you're gonna be around all the time now. This is better,
Yeah.
So you're like 13 at the time?
I think I was 11.
When they started dating?
Maybe I was 9. Okay. I can't really remember. Yeah, I think they were gone for my 9th birthday, actually. Because when I was 11, they were already married.
So from that point, when did you get introduced to the social media world to the point to where you started being very active in it? Is that 13, 14?
No. Well, okay. So Musical.ly was a thing in like 2015, 2016. So I would have been 14 or 15 then. And we were still living in Mineola because I remember making them in my room. And I made a handful of videos. Nothing crazy, just funny little dumb things back when Musical.ly was a thing for like 2 weeks. And then got rid of it. And I was like, nah, social media is not really for me. And then I picked it up again when I was like 17. It was quite a few years later.
I can remember one of my daughters doing this Musical.ly. Well, she had a curling iron. She burned herself. In that video where she burned herself and was like, ouch, in the middle of this music video, got like 2 or 3 million views. I was like, wow, what the heck is going on? You know?
That's crazy. It would maybe make somebody want to burn themselves on purpose.
For real.
Yeah.
For real.
And
so Musical.ly, was that like kind of how TikTok started, where it was all about music and you were singing along or something?
Yeah. So TikTok actually bought out Musical.ly.
Oh,
so it's not a different app. Yeah,
okay,
they bought Musical.ly and just changed the name.
Okay.
Yeah, in like 2018 or maybe it was 2016 when they did it. I can't remember exactly when they did it, but it was just a brand change.
Yeah. I had no idea. If I had known at the time, I had no idea what kind of evil that could turn into. I thought it was this innocent thing.
Yeah.
Like as a dad, I was just like, oh, sure. Yeah, you could. Oh, that's cool. And we would laugh at these videos that our daughters were making.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't know, but yeah. So interesting. So,
well, and I think it's doing like doing a lot of digging behind it and why TikTok is the way it is. And a big reason that it was such a big thing. I can't remember. I think it was Trump made them like switch to America owned or something like that. Like made them sell ownership or he banned it in America for a little bit, like 30 or 60 days or something because they need to switch ownership. But when you look at it, man, and it was crazy because it was a really big I don't want to say conspiracy theory because it was real, but like when you look at the For You page in China and Korea and all these things, it's being used like how everybody wanted YouTube to be used. It's purely instructional and informational. The kind of stuff we see here in America where it's a bunch of like naked women and they're, shaking butt and like doing all these things, that doesn't happen over there.
As they control it.
Because they were controlling it. Exactly. Like their kids are being taught and our kids are being given brain rot.
Exposed.
Yeah, they're being exposed to things that are going to like literally shape the way the rest of their life looks and being given psychological scars that they don't even know they're being given because they're just on some dumb social media app that all of us use, So
you mentioned the word brain rot, and like there's games now that have that phrase incorporated in their games. It's like we know what's happening and it's named.
Well, and it's one of those millennial terms, like what's after millennial?
Gen Z.
Gen Z. It's a Gen Z term or Gen Alpha actually. Is that the one after Gen Z?
I think so.
Because I think I'm Gen Z.
Yeah. There's categories where you probably fit a little bit in both.
I think Gen Z ended in like 2003 or something, and then Gen Alpha started. And so like I tell people all the time, 99 to 01 was the last batch of good babies. After that, hear me out, bro. Hear me out. Because after that, they started eating Tide Pods and doing all this weird stuff. Like that was the last batch of good babies.
It's funny.
The Gen Alpha vocabulary is crazy, dude. Just helping out on the youth team. So like when you get into the youth team, you start with the 6th graders because they want you to move up with the grade. So like when I came in last year and started helping, me and one of my other buddies that started helping too, we ended up with the 6th graders. So we learned all of the lingo, right? It's the only way they communicate. As far as I was concerned, they were speaking Spanish when we walked in there the first day, and so having to learn it, brain rot, skibbity, Rizzler, whatever, Sigma.
Chat.
Like they use Sigma, like we would use Alpha. It's like the complete opposite. They
and what's Alpha to old guys like us?
Yeah, well,
cool.
Yeah, I guess I don't even
awesome.
know.
Tough,
tough.
grit.
Yeah. Well, and what y'all would call just being a man is what they would call alpha now, right? Like, I guess what society says a man should be.
My dad said rub some dirt on it.
Exactly. Yeah, that's like what kids now would consider alpha.
Get up, boy. You ain't hurt.
Just strong. Yeah. Walk it off. Yeah.
Those kind of things. But the crazy thing is that this language changes so fast.
Oh, it's so quick. And 100%.
There's new words and new languages incorporated into the existing language, and some are thrown to the side and some are reincorporated. Like it feels like monthly.
Right.
Those words when we were growing up, those words stuck for 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
Our language in high school was pretty consistent.
Yeah.
It's just crazy to think about it.
Oh, man. I think about the word bruh. Yeah, bro. And I'm like, what are you? I'm your dad. Stop calling me that. I'm like,
your daughter's calling you bro. Like, what is he talking?
I have that argument with my wife all the time. She'll be like, she'll make me mad or I'll make her mad. And they're like, okay, bro. And they're like, don't call me though. You know what I'm saying? Like, not your bro.
My son went through a phase last year sometime where he kept calling me by my first name.
I still call everybody brother, Yeah, brother. That's, but anyway, it's funny.
About the 5th time, and it was like condescendingly. And so, he's 13 years old at the time. And I was like, if you call me, my name's Shane.
Yeah.
I said, if you call me Shane, I'm your dad. You call me dad. If you call me Shane one more time, you're going to find out.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like, that's disrespectful.
Yeah, it's super disrespectful.
We're not going to, not in the way that the way you're saying it. So back to your journey, Sean was asking about social media earlier. You grew a social media page, TikTok or Facebook or Instagram, something we'll get into it, to pretty high levels of followers. And he asked you how you got into it and how that thing grew. Walk us through that, because that leads to your story of like truly finding Jesus, right?
Right. Yeah. So, so TikTok actually started as a joke. Like I lost a bet, and it was to a girlfriend at the time, and she was like, I think if you did social media, you'd blow up, something like that. And I said, that's stupid, but this, and this. And I can't remember exactly how the bet went. At this point in my life, I was smoking a fair amount of marijuana. So there's a lot of fuzzy instances. But long story short, man, I lost a bet. And on my way to my senior trip that me and my parents went on together, so this was like the summer after my senior year. I posted. We drove to DFW to stay with some family. We're gonna fly out of DFW and go to Cabo San Lucas. So we drove in to stay with that family, and I made like 3 TikTok videos and posted them just like I said I would if I lost a bet. And sure enough, man,
What were these videos about?
Who knows? Stupid, stupid. They weren't about anything. They were just like whatever trends were going on. One of them was a dance. One of them was
okay. So it was, the intent was to embarrass you.
Essentially, yeah.
Okay.
That's what I felt like it was. She felt like I could become famous. That was like her goal. She made me like send them to her and proof all of it through her, you know, and make sure I actually tried. I guess I was holding up to my end of the bargain, but yeah, man. She texted me like 2 or 3 days later, or maybe it was one of my buddies texting me or something. Somebody texted me while I was on that trip, and was like, "Hey, like, all of your videos are over a certain amount. One of them's over 100,000 views, and you have like 20,000 followers."
This is your first
"Oh, you're
3
crazy."
videos.
Yeah, first 3 videos. And this was before TikTok is like what it is now. It's like before it got famous, really, and blew up. Because that was like, TikTok is like the COVID baby. You know what I'm saying? Everybody got locked indoors, and all of a sudden everybody was on TikTok. So that happened. And so then at that point, I just started posting them for fun. Like, I just had a good time with it. You know, I'd always, you know, what kid didn't grow up wanting to be an actor? So like I would do the point of view ones where they're like clips from a movie and you're acting out the lines, or the dance ones, lifestyle, whatever trend was in at the time when transitions were going on, I'd do those. The look, a bunch of just
so you're 18
stuff.
18, 19,
17, 18.
Wait, you did the look?
Yeah. I would beg to differ that I actually started that trend, but
there was probably somebody.
Yeah, I'm sure somebody did it before.
Looking back on that now, how do you feel about it?
Every time I go back and look at these videos, I literally start tearing up. Like, it's bad. It's really bad. Like, maybe want to curl up in a ball and like lock myself in a room for the rest of my life. But
because of so whenever you go back and you look at them, it's just, when you say tearing up, because of embarrassment?
Yeah.
Because it's funny, or
pure embarrassment.
Okay.
Pure embarrassment. They're so cringy. It's so bad. And it's like even Bryce Hall nowadays goes back and like with his accounts, he'll duet his old videos and then and like turn it off and look away. You know, and it's like, it's funny now because he's looking back on it. But man, when these were the trends, everybody liked them. I liked them. I was posting them. All the fans liked them. All the other creators were doing it. Like, nobody had a problem with it when they were the trends. And you look back on it 2 years later, and you're like, what is this kid doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, this is goofy, you know? But, yeah, pure embarrassment. Pure embarrassment. And I wasn't doing it for that reason. I'm sure if it was all glorifying the Lord, I wouldn't find it embarrassing, you know? But,
sure.
'Cause it's just chock full of, what would you, vanity, you know, literally for the most part. A lot of them I'm shirtless, you know, I worked out a lot and took pride in it. And, you know, the vast majority, like when I was looking at my, you can see your insights, right? So I was looking at, you know, how many of my followers, what percentage of my followers were boys versus girls. This is literally 95% of them were female and 5% of them were male. It was very obvious that they just thought I was cute.
Who your audience was.
Yeah, 100%.
And you were playing to your audience.
Oh, 100%.
You know that as a creator. I mean,
Yeah.
our audience for this show is what, 70 to 65, 35 or 70,
We
70,
looked up
30?
the stats.
Yeah, so
6 months ago, I don't remember.
We know that we're talking to men that want to be vulnerable in their
Yeah.
walk with Jesus Christ, and we know that we're talking to women that send clips of this to their husband.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
100%. Yeah.
You know your audience, and
Yep.
and if you want to get a point across, like, you be real and authentic.
Yeah.
That's our goal, real and authentic, and you say what's on your heart, and you strive to follow Jesus, and you hope that those things come across to your audience in a positive and helpful way, and lead them to Jesus.
100%.
But you're right. There's so many things in that vanity vein on TikTok, on every social media, vanity vein of, you know, look at me, look how great my life is. Let me show you a video of. I look at Facebook sometimes and I'm like, did this person just go on 7 vacations this summer, or did they wait and post a couple pictures every week for 7 weeks?
Yeah.
You know, what was, looking back on it and knowing where your journey is now, and we'll get into that in a minute, how much did the likes and shares and comments drive you and get deep down into your soul?
Man, I'm not really sure. I couldn't tell you. Like, it's weird because I don't know. Looking back at it, and I'm sure because I would say I'm semi-famous. Like, I'm not The Rock. I'm not gonna walk out in public and get mobbed at any given street in any town in the USA. You know what I mean? Like, or in any country. So I don't know. I feel like it probably got to me there for a little bit. Was definitely living like what we would call a rock star lifestyle for the most part, just drinking and partying. And actually, I was never much of a drinker. I was a big smoker, and hanging out and flying and living in hotels and having, we had a house in LA that we split. Like, just, I would say probably a little bit, but.
What was your main drive then to continue that life?
Oh, my main drive, and actually the only reason I continued with social media is that when you looked up my name, William Lee Honey, I didn't want you to see my dad's mugshot anymore.
That was really...
That was like it. Yeah.
Your dad's name was William Honey?
Yeah, so he's William Lee Honey Sr., and I'm Junior.
Okay.
And I was just sick and tired of that being the first thing you saw.
So...
it's like obituary and like 4 mugshots from different times. So it was like, and super, it was successful when I was doing it. I guess somebody told me the other day, or I was talking to my little brother about it, and I was like, well, it still did this. And he's like, no, when you look it up now, it's still pretty close to the time. I guess it's just because I've been out of it for so long. But
you said obituary. When did he pass?
December 4th of 2014.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 11 years ago.
Yeah. Yep.
What happened?
He got shot by the cops.
Wow.
Yeah. So
sorry to hear that.
You're good, man. It's part of life,
Yeah.
It was. He'd been on the run for about 2 years. He was a suspect in a what do they call it? Attempted murder. And then he was a suspect. And then like 2 years later, it's actually crazy. We were off for Thanksgiving break. And my mom comes to us like the last day of Thanksgiving break, and she's like, hey, y'all are doing so good in school this year. All of you have all A's. We're going to give you an extra week off school. And we're like, y'all are the coolest parents ever. You know what I'm saying? Like, what? An extra week off school? Say less. So then we get to like that Friday of the second week, and my mom sits us down. She gets really, really serious. And she's like, hey, I didn't lie. Y'all have been doing really good in school this year. Y'all have all A's, but like we wanted to let y'all know why we really let y'all stay out of school. And he was one of like 5 people suspected. Only one person robbed it, but they had 5 suspects. And he was a suspect in an armed robbery or attempted armed robbery or some gas station in Sulphur Springs or something got knocked over. And our dad was a suspect, and it came out on the KLTV at 10 or whatever. And that's pretty popular in this area.
KLTV.
And me and him have the same name, So it's like you go back to school and the kids are going to have something to say. So found out that that's why she kept us home. And then when that happened, it got like his name got re-hot over the radar and stuff. It's like back up again. And finding out years later that apparently somebody he ran around with tipped them off that he was at the Choctaw Casino in Oklahoma, and they saw him, he saw them. He ran, made it out the front door, turned into like a high-speed chase on the interstate for a while, clipped an 18-wheeler with like the front right tire, managed to keep going, turn around, get back into the Choctaw parking lot, and then that's where it all ended. Yeah. And it's one thing I regret doing is taking money from the state. Like basically it became a court trial for like 2 years, I think. Yeah, because I would have been 15, so that'd be 2016. Yeah, about 2 years. And they offered us $5,000 a kid. So it was like, there's 5 of us now because the other half sibling had been born. It's about 50.
What do they call that?
Yeah, like almost
was
like
there a name to the money? Like
I can't remember what it was called, but yeah, essentially. Well, and the reason they had to was because, the original police report was that he pulled out a rifle and started shooting at them. Well, you flash forward. And this is actually the only reason we ever found this out, and the only reason the body cam footage was ever released was it happened on Choctaw Nation territory. When something like that happens on Choctaw Nation territory, they do an investigation, period, because it's their land. You know what I'm saying? So they want to be very thorough. It happened in the casino parking lot, right? So like they're very serious about it, and the body cam footage ended up being released. So it's like 8 months later, and as far as I'm concerned, my dad went down in like it's his fault for shooting at them first, and the cop cam footage comes out, bro, and I'll never forget watching it on my school Chromebook in school one day, because it's a Facebook video, so like it doesn't think to flag it, you know?
Yeah.
Because they got on their Wi-Fi, certain things get flagged or whatever, but for AVP or whatever class it was, like certain social medias were open, and I remember watching the video, and you know, the chase happens and everything, and then it gets back into the parking lot, and he puts his hands up and kicks the door open, and then you hear shots just going off.
Wow.
So it goes from thinking that my dad was an attempted murderer, somebody that tried to kill a bunch of cops, you know, and make it out of there.
And he didn't.
To find out that he was a man that raised his hands and was like ready to pay the price, and then paid with his life instead.
Wow.
And then it's like,
how did that make you feel that day when you saw that?
Oh, dude. So much anger, so much anger. Yeah. And it's crazy because I didn't realize for a long time that the anger at my father and the anger at the men who killed him, right, and lied about it, like why they did it, for a long time held a lot of power over me. You know, there's power in offense. It is the bait of Satan. And so when I was finally able to move past that, I just felt such a freedom that I just didn't even realize it had the hold on me. It did. You know, I didn't realize I was still trying to recover from all of it, but it makes sense because I never really went through it. You know, like I never really dug through any of it.
How long did that hold on?
Oh, dude, I don't think I was free from that until this past April.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what was the moment?
So there is a men's retreat, and I think they have in East Texas also, called Trace Diaz. Okay. And it's not like Trace Diaz is really, really interesting, man. Unfortunately, I can't give too much away because they kind of keep it like secret, like because when they don't want to ruin the weekend before you go through it, right? There's a lot of things that happen there that are just so amazing. And one thing that was really cool about Trace Diaz was that, like you're not in there just like, I'm non-denominational, right? And so like I'm not in there with just non-denominational. Like there's Catholics, there's Baptists, there's Methodists, there's Pentecostal, like every kind of denomination is in there. And like the point being is that we get so busy arguing over all of the small things, we forget that it may be different, but it rhymes, bro. Like we all consider Jesus died for our sins and is the Lord of our life, and like that's how we want to live life, and we abide by the Bible. Like we spend all this time arguing and acting like one denomination is better than the other. Well, let's be honest. 24,000 different people had a pride problem and thought they understood it just a little bit better than the last guy. And that's why we have 24,000 denominations, right? When you look at the second closest religion in terms of branches, I can't remember it might be Islam or something. They've got like 14 or something. You know what I mean? It's like you literally jump from teens to thousands. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy.
Petty differences.
It is. It's petty differences. Like the guy, like literally, it's crazy to me. That's just like, no, this is how it's supposed to be. No, this is how it's supposed to be. No, we got 25,000 people that had a pride problem and thought they knew how to do it better than just following scripture. Because that's all we need to do is read the good book, preach the good book, unadulterated, and leave it at that, you know?
So your goal in chasing social media at this time is, hey, I want to clear my name. You know, whenever somebody Googles, I want them to see me and what I'm doing, and instead of seeing my past.
Right. Well, and it's kind of a mix, right? Like what kid didn't want to be famous growing up, you know? So it's a mix of like we were comfortable when my stepfather came around. He provided well. He really did. But at the beginning of my life, we didn't have much. You know, don't get me wrong, my mom worked like 3 jobs and we almost never saw her to make sure that, you know, we had what we needed. But then it's like, okay, I got food on the table. Where's my mom?
Hey, look at that camera right there and tell your mom how much you appreciate her.
Mom, I love you so much, Mom. Thank you. Thank you for, first of all, not only being willing to sacrifice your entire life to take care of us, but also with how horrible we were. Like we were some rough kids, bro. Like we were rambunctious. And it was really bad because 2 of us would gang up on the 3rd one a lot of the time. You know, happens, and it was like, my mom said she cracked the code when we were a little bit older. She realized if she took 2 of us somewhere, we were fine.
Yeah.
Because
one or two is like gold.
1 or 2. And then if you took the 3rd one, it'd be 2v1 and it was going to be bad.
Yeah.
You know?
My boys are in a phase right now where they don't particularly like each other a whole lot.
Right.
And they also can't keep their hands off of each other.
Right.
So it's like, you know, we have moments in the living room and I'm like, guys, I don't care if you fight. Go outside.
Yeah.
Like, duke it out outside. Don't come in here complaining or arguing that you're bleeding or hurting or like he hit me. I don't care. Go outside.
Yeah.
And that normally stops it. Every once in a while, they will, and they handle it, and we move on.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I think, when we got to like the teens, I think Jacob was 12, I was 14. They started, take it outside.
Yeah.
I don't even care. You're not going to kill each other. So just go outside.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Like
somebody's going to bleed. It's fine. Whatever.
Yeah. 100%. But it's like she had to do all of that to make sure we had power was on, food was on the table, water was, and then it's like, so all of the majority of my needs are taken care of, but where's my mom? Why am I getting to know my babysitter more than I'm getting to know my mom? And so looking back on that, to say that like I wanted to set myself up financially in a way that my family had never seen. Because at this point in time, now we have one. My uncle's done very well for himself, and he's very, very financially well off. But at that point in time, there was nobody in the family that was just doing great, like
stable.
So you're starting to figure out this is a method and this is a way for you to make money on TikTok.
100%, yeah. And so like after I got.
What were you doing as the TikTok thing started like really taking off? You mentioned that you had a job earlier. Like how was that transition for you?
I had, after that look video got like 3 million views or something in the first 24 hours, I talked to my boss the next morning when I got off work, and I was like, hey dude, like, I hope you can understand this, like I've had this opportunity, the live streaming's paying me more than you're paying me. And I'm making sure I'm coming from a place of complete humility. I'm not like saying, oh, what you're paying me is dog water. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, dude, it's supplementive income. Like it's literally already paying for itself. And the way the algorithm works is when it's giving you the views,
you got to keep going.
You have to pump content out for it to keep giving it, right? It wants to know that you're going to be consistent. Like it really does. And so I had a conversation with him, and I was like, man, I'll put in my 2 weeks if that's what you want, because I don't know if this is going to work. And if it doesn't, like, I'd love to come back and paint for you. I think this is a good job. So he was like, yeah, I mean, all you do right now is clean paint off the floor and put up plastic. So like, I can do without you. If you want to leave today, that's fine.
It's like you made it this big thing, like you're very important, and you need me here. And he's like, bro, I don't. It's okay. I don't really need you.
You're not my top guy.
Yeah, he's like, don't even worry about the time. Like, I appreciate the respect, but don't even worry about it. Like, you can take off today. You just got off work, so. You don't even want me to finish out the week? Are you sure? He's like,
I was trying to do the right thing, man.
Yeah. He's like, no, bro, I appreciate it. If you ever need a job, come back. And to make that story more funny, and my uncle is the one that owned the company. That's who I was talking to.
Okay. He's like, bro, what are you doing? He's like, bro, what are you doing here,
bro? You've been here for like 4 months, bro. You don't even know. Like, you brush and rolled one room on a Walmart. You know what I'm saying? Like, just get out.
I like you, kid, but yeah, go.
Yeah. So. So that's how that happened, and I left, and I moved back home for a little while, and I was living with my mom, and that was a constant fight. Didn't help that I was a pothead at the time, but that was a constant fight. Was like, you need to get a real job. I'm like, this is a real job. How much did you make last week? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like it's.
And for a mom that's provided for you 100%, your whole life, hearing something like that makes you want to kill a kid.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think I ever actually said those words to her.
You thought it, though.
Definitely a few times.
Yeah.
And she was making good money, so she probably made more, but I bet I wasn't far behind, especially at the beginning, because even from the jump, like I said, it was like $850 a week, if not. And that was the first week, and I only did like an hour a day that week. So I ramped it up some more. Started making a little more, and I think it wasn't until I signed my first brand deal. It was with Fashion Nova, and they sent me.
How many followers were you at when you signed your first brand deal? And this is all on TikTok, right?
Yeah. This is all TikTok. They didn't have me posting anywhere else. I mean, I had Instagram and Snapchat, and they were doing fairly well. Had just been verified on Snap, but nobody was paying for posts on those yet. It was just on TikTok. And the coolest thing about the Fashion Nova deal is that, like, you could post whatever you wanted, and I could post the same stuff I would normally post with the same captions and just at Fashion Nova.
Really?
Like, it wasn't anything special.
You didn't have to wear their clothes or anything?
No, I did. So I did have to wear their clothes. I was going to wear them anyways. They were free.
Yeah.
And they were nice.
Did you like their brand?
Yeah, absolutely. Clothing was phenomenal. I still wore some of it a lot later in life.
Walk me through a brand deal. Like, how much did you get paid for that one? That was your first one. How many followers were you at?
Yeah, I can't remember exactly how many followers I was at. I'd say I was somewhere between 300. I was probably somewhere around 300,000, 350,000, maybe a little more. But in and around that range. And it was $500 a post. And
God,
I
at 300,000?
Yeah.
That's
and
crazy.
I might have been 450. I was definitely under $500,000.
Okay.
And one of them, no, I signed to a management agency. That's right. So I met a buddy. So I went right before I quit the job. I went to a creator event in Orlando, Florida called Playlist. And so Playlist back in the day is kind of crazy. It's like free range teens. Like, I don't know what parents are thinking, to let the kid
go there.
Dude, they just send their kids out there. I don't know if like a lot of them just lived in the area.
And they're whining and dining you, right?
But yeah.
Like, whatever you want, just be my ambassador. Sign with my label. Is that the goal?
Oh, no. So Playlist wasn't about the management.
Okay.
So Playlist was something I went to. I didn't have any friends. I'd made like one friend over social media that reached out to me. He was a bigger creator at the time. He already had a couple million. And he did like the DIY stuff. Like, let's make, what's the sticky stuff that people play with? The squishy slime. Yeah. He made like the slime and stuff like that. And millions. Like, his videos would get millions and millions and millions of views. Crazy. So he reached out, and I ended up meeting a couple creators this way because he was like, hey, are you coming to Playlist? If not, you should. And if you come, let's do a FaceTime with the group, and you should come to our Airbnb, and like we normally split it. And I was like, this sounds awesome. Like, sure, why not? So that was the first like creator house context that I had ever been in. But we all split this Airbnb, and we went to Playlist. And Playlist, yeah, it's just free range teens, bro. I don't know.
So just nothing but sin going on.
Oh, no.
Was there any
dude
good? Like,
no.
None?
No.
Not any like Christian creators?
Oh, I have no clue.
No,
if there were, I wasn't around it.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't in it for sure. Very lost at this point in my life. But yeah, it was rough. It was really rough. You don't like, none of these kids are over 18. You know what I mean? Like, outside of a handful of creators, and maybe 10% of the people that decided to show up were like fans wise might have been over 18. The rest of them are just young and dumb and running around doing stupid stuff. Like, yeah.
Where's all the parents?
Couldn't tell you. The only parent I met that weekend, and I won't say her name, but she's another creator, and her mom was there. But her mom did not care.
Okay.
Did not care. Like,
that's crazy.
It was wild, bro. Free range teenagers. It's like just a bunch of rabbits got together. Like, literally, it's crazy.
Wow.
It was ridiculous. But I met a friend, Jack Bono, there. And we're not as close as we used to be. Especially, I stepped out of social media. I just didn't really run in that circle anymore. But I was just talking to him the other day. He reached out like 6 months ago and told me that he found his way back to the Lord, and him and his girl were pregnant, and was asking me like what fatherhood was like and what to expect, and should we get the vaccine? Should we? And like wanting all of these questions answered. And so, great guy, love him to death still to this day. I've spent so much time with him during those 2 or 3 years of my life, but he signed to a management deal, and we became friends that week. So we exchanged snaps, or maybe even numbers, who knows. We got really close. And so when he signed with that management, I signed with that management. And that manager is the one who ended up getting my social Snapchat verified.
Okay.
And then the Fashion Nova deal also. So it's like he kind of brought it to me. It was already put together when it got to me. And it was like, you can pick out so much dollars worth of clothing items. We'll send them to you. And when they get there, you post in them, and we'll $500 per post.
And that was the first one in a list of many throughout the next 2 to 3 years.
Correct.
Of growing social media.
That was the first one. Yeah. And then I think when we hit 750,000 on TikTok, at that point, the Snap had been verified for a while, and my Snap was going ridiculous. So on Snap, you can't get on the Explore page unless you're verified.
Okay, yeah.
So like random people.
I know nothing about Snap.
So like
enlighten us.
Do you use Snapchat at all?
No.
Okay, so like Snapchat, you open it and it's the reverse camera is looking back at you, right?
Yeah.
And if you swipe to the left, it's all your chats. And then if you swipe to the right, it's the Explore page, and you can go through, and it's kind of like being on TikTok. Like if you click on one, you go through Reels,
okay,
right? And as you're clicking over, it goes to different creators. So Yeah. So when you get verified, now you're on the explore page, right?
Okay.
And so I would post the biggest thing, and it's the same with TikTok and Instagram and everything else, is if you want to get pushed, you have to have like people interacting, right? You have to have interaction.
Isn't that a streak? Isn't that on
no
Snap?
clue. No
well, okay,
clue.
so yeah, some people do the streaks, or like you talk to a certain person every day for so long.
Yeah.
Kind of, but like on the explore page, you know, when I post, any person that sees it can slide up and send a message, right? And that's, for the most part, that's how they interact. You can see how many people screenshot it and how many people send it to another friend. So those are interactions on Snapchat, because they can't make comments or whatnot, unless you are doing the reels, because those didn't come out until later, like shortly after I quit social media. But I would post stuff like "Good morning, say it back," and I'd get flamed for it. Like, there were legit accounts on TikTok who
their
videos blew up. Flame means like they were like, "Look at this freaking goofball posting stuff."
Okay.
You know, just flaming me like. Like, look at this guy. Who does he think he is? Because I said, "Good morning, say it back." But dude, it worked. Like that at the beginning of every day, that one would blow up because thousands of people would slide up and say, "Good morning. Hope you have a good day." You know, like, and literally like hit back. And I would go through and I'd message some of them back, and, you know, interaction, post some of the messages back, because more people will interact if they know you're interacting back. And so, there's a few things I got flamed for, but they worked, bro.
Yeah.
So I was like getting it done. So so at like 750,000, and now the Snapchat was at 200, 300,000 subs also. We tried reworking the Fashion Nova deal, but they didn't want to give us any more. And so we ended up doing away with Fashion Nova. We signed like a Zen deal. Zen was an app that came out and tried to compete with TikTok. That was probably the largest money I gotten into. That one was pretty good. And I like didn't have to do anything extra, because they would let you, like, basically, depending on how big your account was, you got a signing bonus. And then based off of how many videos you posted over like the first 30 days, you got more and more bonuses for each one, right?
Yeah.
And they didn't care if you reposted your TikTok videos. So I would post like 15 videos a day on Zen, and I just scroll all the way to the bottom of my TikTok page and repost like 15 of my oldest TikToks
from the bottom.
And then the next day repost the next 15. The next day repost the next 15. You know,
was TikTok not catching it? Like, now TikTok seems like they catch everything that's duplicated and try to demonetize you for. That's an issue that we go through. So were they not catching that on the Zen app at that point?
So if we post on Instagram, they'll be like, "Oh, this is the same as."
We usually get them cleared because it's our content, but they flag it.
That's crazy.
Same video. It's our content. We post on Instagram, Facebook Reels,
and they're trying to demonetize YouTube, you because
they'll flag it for a demonetization, and then we appeal it, and we normally get cleared.
Bro, that's crazy, because like it's different fan bases on each of the apps.
Yeah,
they're different fans.
And for the record, since we're talking about this, we're not for profit.
Right. So, yeah, I remember you saying that.
Yeah. I mean, everything just goes back into the ministry, back into the podcast. And
there's no money that goes into our pocket. In fact, we've put a lot of money out.
I just want to make that clear. That's pretty important.
I appreciate you making that. It is very clear.
That's amazing that y'all are doing that, man, because if the Lord has the big plans that I think he has for this, that's going to be some phenomenal kingdom finances, you know? Like, it really does. Because especially once, a big thing people don't realize about social media is the snowball effect. Like, if you have 150 videos out and then one video goes for 4 or 5 million views, you end up with another 10 to 15 million views all over the other 100 videos, right? They might only get 10,000 a piece, but 100 other videos got 10,000 more views. So it's very snowball effect. Like, you don't just get paid from the one video. That one video gets you paid on like all of the other videos. Especially, it doesn't work as much on stuff like TikTok because a lot of people are just scrolling. So they go to like a different account next.
Sure.
But especially like YouTube.
To me, you're such an entrepreneur. You seem like you really have an entrepreneurial spirit about you. You know, you do a lot of your own. You have a lot of great ideas. As we were talking before we started, it seems like to me you could just go around and help these different organizations. You know, it could be straight Christian organizations. If you're like, hey, I can put time and energy towards this, and you could probably come in and start a consulting firm and just do that and be like, hey, look. You know so much more about it than your average person.
Right.
And anyway, Just throwing that out there.
That's honestly a great idea. I bet I'd really enjoy that job too, especially if it was for
a good
kingdom
like
work.
Kingdom work.
Yeah,
it's like helping people consult and grow their channels. And I know that they're Holy Spirit led and going to bring people to the kingdom.
It's like a brand
Talk
deal.
about fulfilling, bro.
Dude, yeah, it's like
my goodness.
A multiplication of a brand deal, right? Like you rep brands that mean something to you to some level. Like I like wearing their clothes. I like wearing their hats. I like, using their cologne or whatever it is. I like eating their food. Is like past that. I like what these people are doing because it's kingdom work. And you said Holy Spirit led. The fulfillment from something like that would be huge. So you went through this journey for 2 to 3 years. You're growing this channel up to how many million or a million followers, or what did you end up at?
Man, I think TikTok by itself at one point, and it's crazy because I lost a ton of followers, and I didn't know that until I just reactivated the account like a week or two ago. But I think at the peak it was like 1.5 on TikTok, right around 100,000, if not just over on Instagram, and then Snapchat. Honestly, I couldn't keep up with that one. That one blew up so fast. I don't think it ever quite got to 1 million subs. But it was up there a good bit.
So you're at the peak. You made a bunch of money, flying all around the country, doing crazy God knows what. Living this life of what other people might think is a dream,
right?
And it's awesome. And all of a sudden, you get off social media.
Yeah,
what happened,
man? So getting off social media was kind of a slow crawl. Like I had started not enjoying it as much, and a lot of it came with the body dysmorphia that I was given for the most part. Like for the longest time, I was so set on looking a certain way for the camera, and especially like physically wise, like being built a certain way, and just the amount of body dysmorphia I got off of it had kind of shoved me off a little bit already. And then
break that down for me. Body dysmorphia.
Body dysmorphia is like I'll look back on pictures of me then, and I remember my exact emotions towards that picture. I'm like, bro, well, why do you look like a fish? You know what I'm saying? Like not literally, but why are you so ugly is like what I'm thinking. And then I'll look back on those pictures now. I'm like, dude, you look just fine. What were you thinking? You know, and same thing goes with like my figure. Like for a long time, especially with TikTok and whatnot, I was when I was signed to the label, they were like, eating very specific foods. They were paying for all the supplements. We were in a boot camp. So even though I was the only one working out, because I was the only one they wanted to have that look, I was working out every morning for like 2 hours. Then we'd show up. You'd get back to the house, and we drive to the.
When you say that they wanted you to have that look. They wanted you to have the chiseled 6-pack,
correct,
and the whole deal.
Yeah. I was the pretty boy. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't get me wrong. We were all pretty good looking. But I think I was supposed to be the chiseled one.
How did it feel to have that label put on you and then try to continuously execute an image?
Well, so that's what eventually got to me. Is because I didn't realize it at the time. I understand my identity now. Is I was just the reason I struggled so much with the dysmorphia is just because I had no clue who I was. I had an identity problem. Didn't know who I was. I was whoever I wanted to be, and whoever I was making myself out to be, or whoever the label head wanted me to be. Yeah, whoever Fashion Nova wanted me to be. You know, like I was.
How many kids do you think that are going through this similar?
Every single one. Everyone
that are kind of starting to make it.
Yeah, even the ones that aren't making it. Even the ones sitting at home in their closet that have never made a social media account. Or not. Hopefully, they're not sitting in their closet, but sitting on their bed, like they're all going through an identity problem, unless their parents have specifically sewn into them what their identity is in Christ, right? Like, that's grew up in a Christian household, had no clue who my identity was. So as I was old enough to start making my own decisions, the devil tried to tell me who I was, right? So I genuinely believe that social media or not, I still wouldn't have been making the right decisions until I hit rock bottom and decided to follow the Lord, right? So I feel like everybody at some point in their life goes through the exact same problem, right? Yeah. Maybe not as publicly as I went through it, but I would say every kid's going through it for the most part.
I see it a lot in sports.
Yeah, sports is a big one.
Parents, it hurts my heart, man, to see parents that place identity on their child based on performance.
Yeah.
And did you perform well or not? And assessing value to that performance. I was at a volleyball game last night. And you can pick out it's sad, man. You can pick out the dads that place that value of performance on their kids, and it just hurts my heart for their kid.
Yeah.
There was a specific instance where one of the kids was upset after the game, and my wife grabbed her and told her, like, your identity is not in volleyball.
Yeah.
It's in Christ.
I love that. Your wife sounds awesome.
She's incredible.
Yeah.
We got to, as parents, man, and you got a 1-year-old, very important to start instilling in them your identity's in Christ.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. And all these other things are a way to point to him.
Mm-hmm.
They're not a way to point to me. They're not a way to point to our friend. They're not a way that they're not something that should get us totally discouraged if we can't perform.
Right.
You know, and the work that you put in to do those things is also a reflection of Christ.
Mm-hmm.
So the work is really what matters. It's like, how can we glorify Christ in going to practice every day, showing up, having a good attitude, pointing people to Christ, working hard,
right,
and lifting other people up. I got on a soapbox there, man. Sorry.
No, it's totally fine. And, you know, in sports, the transition we've seen of like major athletes now who are professing like their faith is crazy.
It's incredible.
Like, it's amazing because on that stage for the longest time, we didn't see anybody profess it, like ever.
Yeah.
And now, especially with this new generation, like we've got a ton of quarterbacks, wide receivers. Scotty Scheffler is like the #1 golfer in the world. And
I really like that dude.
Mm-hmm. I really like Scotty. He only made one mistake in my book, but outside of that,
when he got arrested?
Like no, actually, no. That one I feel like a little understandable. But in Happy Gilmore, bro, he does a little bit of cussing in there.
Oh, okay. I did see that.
I'm like, okay.
Come on, man.
Yeah, just come on, bro. Like you
Scotty,
on the biggest stage.
Come on, Scotty. Come on, man.
Scotty, man.
Come on the show and we'll talk about it, Scotty.
Yeah, I know. Which and he glorifies the Lord with 90% of what he does.
Yeah.
So I've got no reason to harbor on that. But it caught me a little off guard. Just a little off guard. Nobody's
judgment,
perfect, so not judging.
There's
no,
not
100% not. But he's done such a good job, and that's actually the reason I bring up the sports is because, and we were talking about identity, is like, it's got to be crazy to be Scotty Scheffler or somebody that's playing against Scotty Scheffler because he'll go to the press and say that none of this gives me any satisfaction. These words come out of his mouth at a press conference. This doesn't give me any satisfaction. This means nothing to me except for my relationship with the Lord. Could you imagine being the guy having to play him on Sunday and he beat you by 7 strokes after the week before saying that none of this means anything to me?
Yeah.
And you've been practicing 8 to 12 hours a day every day for the last 14 years to win one tournament. And he comes out and is like, the one tournament you get second at, he wins by 7. He's like, it doesn't mean nothing to me, bro.
How many tournaments did he win in 2024?
Oh, I couldn't tell you. 7? Is it 7 or 8?
I don't know. It was a lot.
I think it's 7 or 8. Yeah. He won quite a few, bro. And he didn't even play in every single one of them.
You were struggling with image.
Yeah.
And we're getting to the point where you've got this 1.5 million follower on TikTok and Snapchat and Instagram. You got people following you. You're struggling with the body dysmorphia and your image and your identity.
Right.
And you said it was like a crawl shutting all that down. How that happened? Walk us through that.
Yeah. So, man, slowly I just got tired of posting. Like I just didn't want to do it anymore. It wasn't. I don't know. When I got signed to the label, I had to give up all of like my brand deals and stuff because they didn't want technically I didn't have to give it up. I gave it up because they wanted half of all of it. And I'm like, dude, I built all this. You're not
label. What?
Yeah.
Music label.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
And so I was like, I built all this. You're not getting, and you want me to keep posting, and I'm not allowed to keep making money off something I've had years before I met. Like what? It didn't make much sense to me, but I was already kind of 1 foot out the door. So I was like, all right, I'll keep posting, but I'm going to cut off all my brand deals. And, you need to pay me so much a month since I have to supplement income. I don't care if that comes out of the back end. So I go to the label, and it's crazy because I just had my little brother move up to Dallas with me. I was trying to give him out of our hometown. And then I got signed to the label like a week after, was totally unintentional, was decided I was going to do music independent because of how bad my last management deal ended. And then I flew to LA and went to a media day and ran into somebody who was putting together a boy band. And it's the same This last label contract was for a boy band, and it was the same investment group that did the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC. Like, okay, they take this pretty seriously. Like, that's cool. They have all the records and just like all the memorabilia to prove. You know what I mean?
I watched the whole Netflix series.
That documentary.
Did you see that?
Yeah,
I haven't.
Man,
it's
crazy.
very interesting. You need to watch
bet
it.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they were putting together another little band, and so they were like, "We'll call you if we call you next week. You're in. If we don't, you're probably never gonna hear from us again." I was like, "Okay, totally valid." Didn't hear from them the next week, right? So I'm like, all right, whatever. And I go back on about life, and I keep making my music. At this point, I'd bought the stuff, and I was doing it in my room and posting on social media, still smoking a bunch of weed. And I get a call one day, and it's the manager. And this is like 3 weeks later. I was like, "Hey, bro." He's like, "Hey, William, how you doing?" I'm like, "Good, dude. I thought if I didn't hear from you like 2 weeks ago, I was never gonna hear from you again." He was like, "Yeah, well, about that. So you didn't make the original cut, but it didn't work out with one of the members, or maybe it was two of the members." He was like, "Are you 5'6"? And I'm like,
"What?
What?" Yeah, that's like my first question is like, no. I'm like 5'10", 5'11" with Air Forces on, like no, I'm not, definitely not 5'6".
We call that boots.
Boots, yeah. So
boots on.
I was like, no, definitely not. Definitely taller than that. Pushing 6 foot with some good platforms, you know what I'm saying? But he was like, "Oh, dude, we thought you were 5'6", so that's why we didn't call back. If you'd be interested in coming out." I was, absolutely. And they sent me the contract. I was like, I'm not signing this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It had a very specific amendment in it. It was like option clauses. And what option clauses are is like they have a set period of time that they can give me, like when this contract's over, that they can give me a new option, right? They wanted 3 option clauses, but they wanted them all to be a year long. So I take 52 weeks to decide whether I wanted to accept the contract or decline the contract, which means in 5 years or whenever this deal is done, they could essentially stop me from making music for 3 years because I have to take 1 year options, or I just have to sign the contract. And it was supposed to be the same 50-50 contract. And so I was like, "Hey, man, I'll come up there on my own dime, pay for my own plane ticket. I'll get my own hotel. I got a lot of faith in what y'all are doing. I know you've done this before. You seem super talented. Everything they're saying over the phone, they've got a whole plan lined out, how long we're going to record for, when the first single is dropping, like literally planned out to the day for like the next 5 years. Like obviously everything wouldn't go according to plan, but in the contract, there were deadlines. Like they had to get it done by a certain time. So I was like, "I think you've got some great brains behind this, but I want to talk to y'all a little bit about this contract. So I'll fly down on my own dime." They were like, "No, that's fine. Like, don't worry about it. We'll still fly you out. We'll still pay for the hotel, or you can stay at I think they got an Airbnb, and all of us guys stayed there that were going to be in the band, so we could kind of meet each other." And so we did, and they talked about working on the contract. And after I flew down there, I ended up just staying down there because we felt like it was a good fit, and they were willing to work on it. Lawyer was supposed to be in town on like a certain date to go through it. And I never had an entertainment lawyer. I just got screwed the first time, and I'm fairly intelligent, so I knew what to look for the next time. The next 10 times. Went through a lot of contracts, brand deals and whatnot. Music's not that much different other than like master's ownership. But so we get like 6 months down the road, and I've been struggling this whole time, like getting on or off of social media, not enjoying life, not happy with where I am, making music and like enjoying the time I'm spending with the bandmates. And like we're supposed to go on tours soon, and they've got like a Filipino tour booked because a lot of the USA
restart.
Yeah, a lot of the like boy bands started in other countries because they're more like accommodating to that, more open to it, right?
New American bands that they've never heard of.
Absolutely. So all this was booked, and then it came down to like it's vaccine time. This time it's COVID bubble, right? This is in like 21 or early 22. And they're like, "Hey, we need you to get a vaccine to go on this Filipino tour." And I was like, no. And they were like, "What do you mean?" And I was like, "You haven't even signed the contract yet, and all the research is coming out about the vaccines killing people, and you want me to get the vaccine, and you won't even out of good faith, you want me to sign it before we fix this? You're crazy, bro."
Yeah.
There's no way. So did a little bit of talking to him, and they finally got the lawyer in town, and we went over it. And I was like, "I'll give you 87 option clauses that are 3 days long." You know what I'm saying? Because it's not going to take me a year to read a contract. It's going to take me like 12 hours. And if I'm really confused about anything, I've got a lawyer that was a good friend of mine that I could send it to. So it's like,
Yeah.
I'll figure it out within 72 hours, whether it's a good deal or not for me. So he was like, well, it's just to protect us. And I was like, no, it doesn't protect you in any way. It doesn't protect you. It just screws me. It's like you could say it protects you, but the only thing it protects is that I'll either have to do the same 50-50 360 deal where I'm having to pay you and the engineers, and long story short,
or you're out.
Or I'm out. Yeah. Or I don't get to make music for 3 years, and everything I spent the last 5 years building is gone because I'll be a ghost for 3 years, right? Ironically, what I ended up doing anyways, but without the 5 years of music first, right? So after that conversation with them, they just didn't want to change it. And I remember the president of the label sent me a really nasty text one day. He's like, we've done all this for you. How dare you, blah, blah, blah. You're such a piece of blah, 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 like blah. And I'm like, dude, I can be gone by 5 p.m. today. You know, like if y'all don't want to fix it, y'all don't want to fix it. I'm not interested in wasting my time. Because I'd come to the decision that like I was just at the time, man, I was still dabbling around with a few things and never got into heavy drugs, but I'd done shrooms a handful of times. And the few times I'd done it, it seems like you could really separate reality. Like you can take all emotion out of a situation and give yourself purely logical advice. You can literally look at a situation, take yourself out of it, and look at it as if you were giving yourself advice.
So you felt like you
while
were
you're on
it.
shrooms?
Correct. While you're on shrooms.
Really?
Yeah, it's really weird.
I've never heard that before. I've
it's-
always heard it feels like you're in a cartoon and all this stuff.
Okay.
I've never done them. But
that's if you're tripping. So
Okay.
I've never taken them to trip. I've never tripped in my life.
You're talking about
Shrooms is the only
microdosing?
psychedelic. Yeah, I always microdose, just a little
so
bit.
basically what you're saying, microdosing on, I mean, and I don't even want to give anybody advice or anything.
No, please don't.
But
Horrible idea.
basically, this microdose thing just causes you to take all emotion out of and to only make logical decisions.
100%. Well, and it's like
That's
it's like getting out of your own feedback loop.
you're getting out of your own. Yeah, you're getting out of your own head. You're no longer thinking about it with your own emotions. I can essentially write the situation down and look at it as if I was a life coach for William
interesting.
Honey. You know what I'm saying? So. When I decided I was going to make this choice,
We do not recommend taking any drugs ever.
Please don't ever take drugs. And like a lot of people don't understand that they are gaining access to the spirit realm through a back door.
100%.
And they're unprotected.
Yeah.
The only way we should ever be in the spirit realm is with the guide of the Holy Spirit.
Yep.
And when you go there without that, you're
done.
completely subject to everything there, right? And there's this amazing testimony on De La Fey Testimonies, which is another, I think it's a podcast, and they bring people on it. My wife loves it. I'm not big on it, but not because I don't like it. I've just never been big on testimonies. I'd rather listen to a sermon or something, you know, and listen to a few though. And this was one of them she really harped on, and I loved it. It was like, this guy was a big drug addict type guy growing up in and out of prison. And when he got saved, he went back to recording music. Only place he had to record was with a buddy who still was in that same drug loop. And he went over there and he ended up taking some shrooms or something. And then it was as if like the devil, he said he felt like the devil literally set him up, because after he ate the mushrooms, everybody that was there with him decided they wanted to go get food or something and left him home alone to record. And like being alone on psychedelics, not the place you want to be. Right. Like, so, he went in through the spiritual back door and essentially, you know, skipped through the whole trip. Is like at one point he gets to the table with the devil and he's like, how can you claim that you're with the Lord or with Jesus or whatever, but you're still eating from my table? And he's talking about the psychedelics. Like you're eating from my table, you're still taking drugs and accessing the spirit without the guide of the Holy Spirit. So please don't ever do drugs, not even marijuana. It's not man-made, or it's not God-made, right? That's a lot of people got me for a long time. I was like, oh, it's natural. It's like, no, the Lord says to stay sober-minded because the enemy prowls around like a lion looking for prey, right? It's like, I genuinely believe, based off of like a vision type thing that my wife had, that like marijuana was actually crafted during like the Salem witch trials. And we did a little bit of research into it after, and there are actually signs for it, but it's like, it's a concocted medicinal herb, right? Same way that like Solomon asked for the ability to speak to the spirits and learned like everything that made them go crazy or drive them away, right? With all of that knowledge, people who are tapping into witchcraft and the spiritual like that are given knowledge, right? That is not their own. So I genuinely believe it was concocted. I don't think God made the plan, right? Because God wants us sober minded. And I don't know if you've ever smoked weed, but I'm never sober. Never, not even after one hit. Like, you can have a beer and be sober. Mm-hmm. You can't hit a blunt and be sober.
That's true.
Right. Yeah. And so that's where the God got me shortly after I turned my life around. For a long time, I was still, it's natural. Like, God made it. It can't be that bad. When I'm smoking weed, I feel so much more in tune with God. Duh. Anyways, it was finding out
it's an interesting justification.
Yeah.
Essentially, I think we as humans do it all the time of like, I can do this and still be close to God. And then we create 100%. These own boundaries in our mind that really aren't true because they don't line up with the word.
Yeah. And so it's like, and again, a big thing for me is natural. Everybody talking about how it's natural. It grows out of the ground. It's like, read scripture. It's the best thing you could do. It literally calls us to be sober minded. And if you're saying you can smoke weed and be sober, you're lying. There's no way around that
true.
One.
So you're going through this record deal. Whatever happens, it doesn't work out. Where was the reckoning in your life?
So I had an ex, and we had an on again, off again, very messy relationship. Started dating her shortly, like after, or maybe it was right before. I think it was right before I started social media, and she started doing social media also because I was doing it. So I would post with her, and it's very common on social media that women's Instagrams do better than men's.
Okay.
Like,
obviously.
Right. It makes me want to roll my eyes, of course. Anyways, so her Instagram was bigger than mine.
That's not a woman problem. That's a man problem.
It's a man problem, 100%.
It's a
lust problem. Yeah. Well, attention seeking.
Comparison for women.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But so I ended up running into her, bro. It was, when was it? It was in like March or April. My buddy Chris was another guy that met early on in my TikTok realm. And we've kind of, when I left social media, I parted ways with a lot of people because it's like, if you weren't in the clique, you weren't in the clique. Like, they stopped reaching out, and I was trying to get life together, and they just didn't agree with what I was doing. I didn't agree with what they were doing. And I never like ixnayed them. Like, still to this day, I had a buddy who called me, and I happened to be in Orlando, and I happened to be in Tampa. He was in Orlando, and he was like down bad. Some girl had just left him at a bar or something. He was crying. He's like, bro, could you Uber? And I hopped in Uber, and like hour and a half later showed up where he was, and we had a heart to heart. And I'll never forget it because it was shortly after I started my walk with the Lord. And he was like, do you really think that like the Lord still loves me or still forgives me or something? And I'll never forget having that conversation because it's like, I feel like it's the only glimpse I've been given into his life about how he really feels about himself. It's just like, there's not enough forgiveness to forgive everything I've done wrong, and that's what most people think. But
yeah, that's true.
Anyways, at this point in time, I'm at the label. I'm in Orlando. He's living in Tampa. And I was going to visit him for his birthday. And I'm like 5 minutes away, bro. It's an hour and a half, 2 hour drive. I'm like 5 minutes away. Not that I was driving much. I had a Tesla, so I just threw it on autopilot, played on my phone, but horrible. Don't do that either. Don't do that either.
A lot of bad choices.
Yeah, tons, bro. Basically, all of life was just a big bad choice at this point in life. But get like 5 minutes from his front door, and he's like, hey, Will, I still want you to come, buddy. Love you. But like, Mary just showed up. So don't know if you still want to come or whatnot. But I was like, nah, bro, tonight's about you. It'd been a minute since we broke up. Like, I wasn't holding any ill will. I didn't think she was. So I was like, I'll stay on my side of the bar. She can stay on hers, and we can go out. Cause we'd been going to the same club like every other weekend. Cause I was going down to visit him a lot while I was living in Orlando. And we went, man, long story short, after a couple drinks, and, we'd all been drinking. We get back to the house and just ended up rekindling a flame that didn't need to be rekindled, bro. And woke up the next morning, and all of this stuff that I didn't know I was dealing with or had somewhat managed to suppress or whatever, because we know how important that like that covenant is, right, in God. And so I just became one flesh again with somebody that was like somebody I should not have become. We'd already moved past it, right? And
a buddy of mine relates that to taking two pieces of paper and putting super glue on them and sticking them together.
Yeah.
And then
ripping
them apart.
Wow.
There's pieces that go to each side that you can't unstick.
100%. And so it was like, man, I can't even remember the exact emotion I got from it, but that one just wrecked me, like derailed me, had me start thinking about life. I had already made the decision to leave the label at this point.
So God was working on you.
He was. And yeah, unfortunately not in a way I was enjoying at that moment, but it led to the turnaround. Yeah, I remember calling my mom and my dad like the day after and just like crying, and I don't think he answered, but I sent my dad a voicemail and just thanked him for being the man he was and giving me like the moral compass, because I was able to like revert back to the Lord in that moment. And then, yeah, that was pretty much the catapult. Like that happened. And I realized that I was the lowest I'd ever been. And I had nobody around me to share it with. Like I had nobody to talk to. Like all my bandmates
like
were there.
Real
yeah.
friends that are cross followers.
Right. Yeah. Well, and at that point I wouldn't even have necessarily deemed myself a Christ follower.
Okay.
Right. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm a Christian since birth. Right. So I would have been one of the reason that people are gun shy to the word Christian, right? Because there's a lot of hypocritical stuff that comes out of that word in the world. And I was just at rock bottom, and I realized what I was doing to fill the hole, and I was living the life that most people for sure my age would call living the life, right? Living in it was like a 6 or 7 bedroom mansion. You know, we had plenty of money, like food was provided. All my supplements were provided, paying for the gym membership, paying for everything, bro. Doctor's visits, teeth whitening, haircuts, whatever. Like everything was paid for, and it was all top of the line. And had plenty of money, had a Tesla. I was like 20 years old, something like that, and just realized I was so empty, bro. Like I've never been more empty in my life ever. And it was realizing then that I just had nobody around me to share. Like I just realized I'd never had an intimate conversation with anybody in that room, really. Like nobody, or in that house, right? My bandmates were basically my only friends at that point in time. We were in boot camp. So
it was all surface.
We spent all day together. Like you didn't go other places because we didn't have time to go other places. And when we did, we went together to work on chemistry, right? These are the 5 guys I was supposed to spend the next 5-6 years with 24/7 and go through the ups and downs with. So just realized, I didn't really have anybody I could communicate with. And man, 1 or 2 of them I could have, but it wouldn't have worked on a spiritual level. Like I may have even tried. I can't really remember because I was still a pothead at the time, but just remember feeling so alone, so alone, like crazy alone. It's crazy because it's a house full of people. Still felt so alone.
Mm-hmm.
I was with people 24/7 all day long. Still felt alone.
How long did that last?
Man, I don't think I held on to that too long. I want to say, so after I decided to leave the label and then the whole like X thing happened, it was probably maybe a week later that I left and just decided I was just done with all of it and I was going to find the Lord. And I started asking the Lord for good influence in my life because I've known for a long time since I was young that you're the product of who you surround yourself with. Mm-hmm. Show me your 5 closest friends. I'll show you yourself in 5 years.
That's a fact. Who taught you that?
I can't remember, bro. Probably my dad.
Yeah.
Probably, if I had to guess. I mean, it's probably my dad.
So did you go back to Lago Vista at that point?
So no, actually, I got my job back painting.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, so, nice.
Yeah.
Full circle here.
Yeah. So I
put a paintbrush in his hand, man.
Yeah. I think I literally on my way home, because it was Orlando, Florida, and I was driving back to Dallas, Texas. So this whole time, 3 years I'm doing social media, I had an apartment in Texas the whole time. I stayed there for maybe 3 weeks in 3 years. You know what I'm saying? I had a cousin who was like, yeah, I'm getting an apartment in Texas. And this is when I was leaving LA. When I was living in LA, and this was towards the beginning of my journey, I was like, dude, it's horrible here. I'm surrounded by people making horrible decisions. And I think one night somebody busted open some drugs at like 4 a.m. in the morning. I was like, you want to do this? And I almost said yes. I was like, oh, no. No, it's like 4 a.m., bro. I gotta get up at 10 for the weight room. And then I realized that the only reason I justified not doing it was because I had to be in the weight room in 6 hours. Mm. And I realized how quickly that could have turned into a much worse situation.
How vulnerable you are when you're surrounding yourself with it.
100%. It was one of my closest buddies. And like, I don't dig him for it. Like, it was his thing and I never was against him for it. But I realized that I almost got caught up in it. And it was something I told myself I never get caught up in. And the only thing that stopped me from doing it that night was the fact that I had to be at the weight room at 6 hours, And so that's when I was like, all right, I got to get out of LA. Just bad influences. So my cousin was moving to Dallas. and he asked me if I wanted to split an apartment. So we got a 2-bedroom apartment, and I had that apartment the whole time I did because then I went into the music section of my career, and I ended up going to Chicago for like 8 months, and then went out to Tampa for like another 3, 4, 5 months, and then went to Austin like 3 or 4 months. And we were just kind of all over the place.
All over.
There for a little bit, recording and traveling. And
you got out of the music thing.
Yeah, so I got out and I was going back to this apartment.
Okay, in Dallas.
That's how we got there. Yeah, it's like this was like my 3rd apartment over the last 3 years, and I maybe spent 21 days in each of combined in all of those apartments. So I'm heading back to my apartment. I'm like, man, what am I gonna do now? Like, what am I gonna do? I still wasn't completely sold on like leaving social media for sure, but I knew if I was gonna keep doing it, I wanted to do it for the Lord, right? So, I was just living life a little confused. I was still making music, just didn't want to be a part of the label anymore, right? Because label wants creative control, and if I'm gonna do anything now, it's gonna be for the Lord. So can't nobody have creative control except for the Holy Spirit, right? Yeah. So got to protect that. And so I was doing it by myself, and I've been praying about good influence. And I went to a music festival that I was originally not supposed to go to. Like I had a group of buddies that lived in Lafayette, Louisiana that I had met, and we had become like kind of like a festival vacation group. Like we would meet in big groups because one of them had a ton of money and he would just invite us all out and we would all hang out and do these things. And so we'd go like snowboarding and we'd all meet in Colorado, or we'd go to like Coachella and we'd all meet in Chicago, you know? Super cool people. Trevor's awesome. He was like the head of the group. He's doing a lot of the planning. Probably the most interesting group I've ever been a part of, but it was a good time, bro. They were good people. Few of them were digging deeper for the Lord. I can't say that probably didn't play a role in it, being able to have some really deep conversations, even when I was in a dark place. But I had said no to this music festival because I was signed to the label and I was going through boot camp. Well, when I decided to leave the label, it was like 2 weeks before the festival. So I was like, all right, whatever, I'll go.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, I'm getting ready to, and if you haven't been to Lafayette, Louisiana, Pops is a restaurant downtown, and they have a crawfish mac and cheese bowl.
Oh, that sounds good,
bro. It's crazy. It's like bro, hungry. One of the best things you'll ever have in your life, bro. It's in a bread bowl, so like you take it apart and dip it in and eat it as you're eating the rest of it.
Okay,
but lo and behold, I'm telling you, lo and behold, as you're walking in here,
let's go.
As I'm going to open the front door, this girl turns around. She's like, "Hey, do I know you from TikTok or whatever?" Yeah, and I was like, maybe." And I just kept walking, you know, because stoned, still smoking, haven't had the revelation yet because I'm 2 weeks old in my faith, right? So that ended up being my wife, you know. I only just that one quick sentence, and we ended up running into each other again. And I never drink, but because some cute girl just noticed me at the front door when I got my crawfish mac and cheese bowl, I got a Tiger's Blood margarita, and been smoking already, so those don't mix well, right? So can't remember exactly how the night went down, but ran into her again later in the night. They exchanged Snapchats, I think, and then met her at another bar after that. Only person I've ever sloppy made out with in a bar, ever. Like, literally ever. I've never done that, never been that kind of person.
At least it's your wife, right?
She had, yeah. She had what they call a halo, and it's not a hair extension, but it's like an extra set of hair that you put like right here to make it look more thick.
Oh yeah.
And I like almost pulled it out. Like it was rough. Like it was not a good. Don't recommend this either. Please don't. But
when Ruth is about 9 and she asks, "How'd y'all meet?"
Yeah. You're gonna have to
say, "Hey, watch this video."
Yeah, watch this podcast.
Be like,
edit that out for me.
Be like, ask your mom. You know,
let mom explain that one.
But you know, we kept talking the day after, and she kind of ghosted me for a couple of days. It was very interesting. I never had a girl do that.
Okay.
But
which led to more intrigue from you.
Absolutely, 100%. Probably wouldn't have chased after her if she didn't. She says that all the time. I think she only liked me for my Tesla anyways. So it's like you can name your Tesla in the app.
Okay.
And so shortly after I met her, I can't remember. I made a trip down there and let her use it to go somewhere or something. But I let her put the key.
Name it after her?
No, I let her put the key card on her phone because you can set it up to the phone where you tap the phone on the door. You can unlock it and start it from the phone. And I renamed it to The Only Reason Abby Likes Me.
Oh,
and
nice.
so when she added it on her phone, she saw the name and just like cackled from the other room. But Yeah, so she ghosted me for a couple of days, and then I finally texted her something. I can't remember. It's an interesting story, but like the next morning, she had invited me the next day to like go to Reds. If you've never been to Lafayette, Louisiana, Reds is an insane gym. Like a bodybuilder whose nickname was Red, Mr. Olympia in like the 80s for like 2 or 3 years, made the gym. It's sick. Lower levels, like all like cardio and legs, and upper levels, like all upper body. There's like 2 Olympic-sized swimming pools. One's got like slides and stuff for the kids, and one's indoor, ice bath, hot tub, all the stuff. Boxing gym in it, 4 basketball courts, like 13 pickleball courts. There's a track around the whole thing.
Holy moly.
Bro, it was insane.
Phenomenal.
It was insane.
That's crazy.
In the women's weight room, or in the women's locker room, there's a whole other weight room in case they don't want to work out in front of men. It's crazy,
That's
bro.
gracious.
It's actually crazy. Yeah, it's sick, man. I'm sure he
cool,
makes a ton of money. It's super, super cool. Shout out Red, dude. Like, that is the most amazing idea. Unfortunately, he passed away like 6 or 7 months ago, but super cool gym. But she'd invited me to go lift with her in the morning. I was going to lift anyway, so I was like, sure, absolutely. And then she invited me to go kayaking on like St. Martin, because the one reason we really hit it off, we both love alligators. Now, I mean, she loves to look at them. I would love to shoot them. You know what I'm saying? That's like, I grew up on swamp people.
Shoot them, Troy.
So, shoot them, Troy. Yeah, I had that shirt with him on there that said shoot them.
Shoot them.
I've always wanted to do that. Still to this day, I'm trying to figure it out. A lot of her family lives in Louisiana, so I'm trying to get them to like enter the lottery for tags.
Take me out, bro.
Yeah. So, I still want to go alligator hunting, but we kind of bonded over that. And then so what I found out the next day is I go to the gym. She's been blowing me off, ain't answered no snaps, and so I go to the gym. I'm sitting down. I'm eating, and out of the corner of my eye, man, I just know it's her. And I turn my head around. She's with another guy. So I turn my head back, and she walks around the corner. I look up at my guy, I'm like, that's crazy, like that's wild. And so a couple of days, I ended up texting her something. I can't remember what it was. I wasn't very nice because I thought I'd become a homewrecker, like I thought she cheated on him with me. I thought I'd become the other man. Mm-hmm. And that was not a good feeling. Like, don't get me wrong, I wasn't the perfect guy, but moral compass, got that from a very young age. I genuinely believe it's what saved me. And like in LA and some of the instances I've been in, but she blew me off for like the next 3 days, and it's me like chasing and chasing and chasing. I posted something one day and it made her realize I actually liked her or something. I can't remember, but she finally texted me and she was like, hey, I just decided, like 2 weeks ago to give my life to the Lord. And I just feel like you were a distraction sent from the devil. So like, I don't think this is a good attitude. So come to find out.
How do you respond when somebody says you're a distraction?
Yeah, you're
from the devil.
Yeah. So I was like, I was like, ooh, I was like, hold on, calm down. But no, I just sent it back. I sent her a text back, and I was like, that's insane, because like I just gave my life back to the Lord 2 weeks ago, and like if that's the reason you don't want to continue with anything here, perfectly fine by me. You know what I'm saying? Like perfectly fine. So at that point, the conversation just never really stopped. Like we just got into talking about the Lord and hanging out, and I come home and told my parents.
So
like,
hold on,
you went for
who was the guy?
Oh, I don't know. They were not dating.
Okay.
No. It was some guy she'd been talking to on Snapchat. Yeah, just like a random that drove like 2.5 hours to come take her on a date that day.
I got you.
And what I found out was that the Reds and the kayaking at St. Martin was like their date plans that she was inviting me on. Yeah. So that's what I found out the next day. So I was like, then we're talking about it after, she hung out with him for the day or whatever. So it made sense later why she didn't answer. But she was also a pothead at the time, and she didn't smoke near as much as me, but she smoked a little bit. And she was telling me that whole day she's just wishing it was me there instead of him. And looking back on it, it was like, I was pretty frustrated when I found this out. I'm like, I still felt kind of like a homewrecker. Like old boy drove 2.5 hours to come take you out on a date the next day.
That's a long ways. Yeah, and I messed that up.
And both ways. Like he had to drive home later that night. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
how long did y'all date before you got married?
Like, well, I can't remember when exactly I asked her to date me, because at the beginning we were both chasing Christ. So it was like, I don't really want to. Dating's not biblical. Right? Like we see nowhere in scripture where people date. There's a courtship period, and then you marry them or you don't. Because what a lot of people don't realize in my generation, because dating and talking, and there's 50 phases now, the Lord never intended for any of that. You court somebody and you get to know them, And love is not a feeling.
Really good friends.
You're not, yeah. Love is not a feeling. Like it's not something, it's not, Disney's done such a great job of making us feel like there's this fairy tale image of what a relationship and marriage and love should look like. But man, no such thing.
You especially know that you feel love when people do things for you, and how they treat you. That's the feeling of love. But be married 10 years.
Yeah.
And when you wake up and it's work.
Yeah.
Like love is work. It's like faith without works is dead. It's like the way that my wife feels, how I make her feel without me sacrificing my time and what I want to do to give up things for her doesn't work.
100%.
And vice versa.
I love that you said the word sacrifice, because that's what I was getting to, is that love is not a feeling. Infatuation is a feeling. And you can be infatuated with somebody or feel like somebody's infatuated with you, right? And that's what these kids go on looking for. So they're like, I'm going to date you for 4 years and we're going to make sure we mess with. No. Like, love is a sacrifice. That's all it is. Love is servanthood. If you love somebody, you will serve them, just like Christ served us, right? And so with that, it's understanding that, like, it's not a feeling, it's a choice, and it's a commitment that you make to this woman that you will serve her and take care of her for the rest of your life. And it's a commitment to the Lord. You're like, hey, I'm going to partake in this covenant that you gave humanity, and I'm going to partake in it in the way you said, with one person for the rest of my life, sick or healthy, ups and downs. Like, I'm going to do. It's not a lot of people in my generation are just stuck on the fact that, like, life needs to be perfect and we need to mesh. Sorry, bro, that's not what marriage looks like. Marriage is not God saying, I have the perfect person for you to be happy for the rest of your life. God is saying, I have the perfect person to make you holy and more like me. Right?
That'll preach, bro.
Brother, that's spot on.
I like that.
So did you get married in 2024?
I got married in 22.
So in 22.
So from the day I met her to the day we got married was like 7.5 months.
Okay.
So this is This is like your story here is kind of crazy. Of like you went from messy making out in a bar to texting about Jesus.
Yeah.
Like how
like 24 hours. Yeah.
Right. Like look at how the Lord works.
Yeah. Well, like, we've always looked back on that night and said, like, the devil had devious plans for both of us, and the Lord just threw it right back in his face.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Watch
like,
this. Watch this.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
And your relationship with the Lord and her all kind of grew.
Oh, 100%.
Right.
I think that my relationship with the Lord grew exponentially because I had her. Like I said, I was praying for good influence. I hadn't had any. And she was a great influence. And like my mom, I found this out after, because I come home after going to see her for the first time after that. And found out that my mom had been praying that I'd meet some people that love the Lord. And my mom was just crying, telling me like she couldn't believe. I come home like 2 weeks after I met her and told my mom I was going to marry her. I knew. Like, I was like.
It's so incredible just to hear your entire story, because you're only 24 years old.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I'm sure you probably know this, but you have lived an incredible amount of life in just a short time.
I hear that. Yeah.
Hey, and I'm listening to like, to you talk. You're an intelligent person, and you have lived a lot of life, and you have a lot of wisdom at a very young age.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's really neat.
It's encouraging.
And encouraging. Yeah. It's encouraging, for me to hear like your generation, and hey man, there's some great people out there that are taking these life lessons and they're learning from them, and they're incorporating, the scripture and the God aspect to it, and they're figuring it out. And that to me is just such an encouraging thing.
There's so many things in our world that are trying to steal our kids. The devil is trying to steal our kids away from the Lord. And we have the opportunity and the influence as parents to try to do everything that we can to point them to Jesus for 18 years. Right. Or however long this kid's in your house. But outside of that, you get to be an adult when you leave. You got to be an adult and make big boy decisions. And you didn't make the right ones for a long time. And that's okay, because, I didn't either. There was a time that I went wayward as well. But man, the power of prayer, dude. You said your mom was praying. You don't like, if we don't think that had a major impact on the Lord putting Abby in your life,
right?
and you being in that bar, maybe high as a kite, but the power of prayer, man, it's unbelievable.
It's real.
Well, and sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I was done. I was kind of rambling anyway, so it's your turn.
Man, it's crazy because when you're praying, it's intercessory prayer. When you're praying on behalf of somebody else, this is somebody who's not even trying to save theirself, right? Like they're just like me at that point in time. Don't get me wrong. I was heading on the right path. I didn't even know what it looked like to be on the right path. I'd never had it modeled for me, right? I'm crossfaded in a bar, sloppy making out with my future wife, right? Like, and the only reason that situation became what it was, I would say, is because of intercessory prayer. Like, even though I was not protecting myself, I was being protected on behalf of somebody else because my mother and my grandmother and whoever else was praying for me.
It's so powerful. And a lot of people, when they think their prayers are hitting the ceiling, a lot of moms and dads, when you pray for people who are going through these struggles, they don't realize, hey, God really is moving behind the scenes,
right?
And in a powerful way.
And don't you know that God is infinite, right? Mm-hmm. He's omnipresent. He can be everywhere at once and knows everything. The devil cannot. Mm-hmm. He has an army of demons, and if you have an army and you only have a limited amount of demons, and you have to send them out to battle against God, where are you going to send them? Mm-hmm. You're going to send them to trip up people that have the most influence or that could have the most influence in God's kingdom.
100%.
Bro, you were there's no doubt that having that amount of followers and having people look at you and follow you, there's no doubt that you were being attacked.
100%. Yeah.
And your mom or whoever else, I'm sure she had a team of people praying for you.
100%, I'm sure.
Like, is fighting the spiritual battle.
Yeah.
Or asking God to fight the spiritual battle to keep that away from you.
Right.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. It's also insane to think about that if she wasn't intercessing on my behalf, what would have become of my life?
Yeah.
Where would I be today?
There's no telling. You probably wouldn't be sitting here right now.
No, I probably wouldn't have a wife and a child.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm strung out on drugs somewhere, sure.
God's got a plan, 100%. and I can see him working in your life, and it's very encouraging, you know, and it's super cool just to see him take you off that track and put you on a new path.
Yeah.
And man, it's awesome. It
Thank
really
you, bro.
has. It really has. I mean, I've really enjoyed listening to everything today and just listening to what all really hearing you quote scripture and stuff is such an awesome thing. And it's encouraging for today's teens and young adults, you know, that are up and coming and that are on the wrong path and then being placed on the right path. And I really know that this message is going to resonate
with people that we haven't been able to resonate with. So to end every show, Will, we have our guest speak to their past self.
Yeah.
Or in your case, there's millions of kids out there, young adults out there that either are going through what you've been through or think that that's what they want to strive to be.
Yeah.
You have an opportunity now to speak directly to them and point them to Christ. If you're looking at that camera right there.
That's awesome. Okay.
Let them know, man.
Yeah, man. The number one tip I can give you, because I feel like the majority of us, especially younger people struggling with identity and who you are and who the Lord says you are, not what the world or your parents even or you say you are, is looking back at Hebrews 10:14. It says, through one sacrifice, he is redeemed or made holy those who are being sanctified. So like if you have chosen the Lord and are going through convictions and the lifelong refinement process of the walk, it's understanding that there's no more of this, oh man, I'm a sinner, I'll always be a sinner. No, because whatever you speak over yourself, we have power of life and death in the tongue. So if you speak, I'm a sinner, I'll always be a sinner, you're a sinner and you're always going to be a sinner, right? But the Lord says that through one sacrifice, he has perfected those who are being made holy. So like every single one of you, Jesus' blood washed you white as snow. You're perfect. I understand that's hard to see in yourself because you know what you've done and you know your past and you think a lot worse of yourself than I'm sure everybody else in your life thinks of you, because I was in the same boat. But it's understanding that as far as God is concerned, you are perfect. And if you don't believe me, it's, well, scripture, Hebrews 10:14. And then also understanding that, like, one of the biggest revelations I had is that God's grace for me gives me faith in the man that I can be. Because if God didn't see the version of me that is full in his identity and in his sonship, why would he have grace for me? If I was going to get no better than I was when I was in the middle of TikTok doing whatever I wanted, full of the world's desires, but because he sees the Son and the perfect, holy version of myself that he is putting me through the refinement process to become. That's why all of his grace gives me faith in the man that I'll hopefully be one day.
Mm-hmm. Amen.
That's good stuff.
Man, that's awesome, brother.
Thanks for being here, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really
Thanks for having me.
You. Yeah,
we've enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I've enjoyed it. It was awesome.
We're super thankful and just grateful to have the opportunity to do this. Hey, for you out there, I just pray that you'll let the Lord impact you through Will's journey, through Will's life, through his experiences and other experiences that we talk about on the show, and just to give it to Jesus. Hey, go kick the day in the face, and we'll catch you on the next one.